I think personally, again, my partners each may have their own opinion. I think the Lawrence House has had a significant impact on the organization, the firm, and then I have some sentimental like attachment to it because it was the last project we had worked on as well with J. Michael at the time.
Well, explain to us, like, for people who aren't in Chicago, don't know the areas, don't know the buildings, what's so cool about that area, that particular building?
I think again, Uptown again was very close to us and the organization. We called it the Brooklynization effect. We thought that there was an opportunity to take that neighborhood and really help bring it back to life. It was geographically located in a perfect location, surrounded by extremely affluent neighborhoods, but it was extremely depressed for like 60, 70 years.
What do you think? Why? Is there a particular reason?
Yeah, I mean, again, without getting into like full on,
it's okay.
Yeah.
You get there within your safe bounds. We're fine.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, in general, I think that, Uptown's had challenges because first when it started as early back as the Great Depression. After Prohibition, that was an area where Al Capone and all these people had come together, spent a lot of money, built all these hotels, and so it was like.
So it was good. Prohibition was good for this.
Prohibition was unbelievable. It was like the Hamptons,
right?
Or version, and actually it was considered Hollywood before Hollywood. Charlie Chaplin, his first vaudeville theater.
Very cool.
And so you take that, and then you take away the Prohibition, you take away the money. And so all of a sudden, hotels became no great use.
Got it. So it was an economic center of Chicago for like a long time.
And it was considered like a suburb, even though like in the city at the time. And then during that time, you had a large inflow of migrants at that time. But it was they converted those hotels into like single room occupancies.
Got it.
And so I think just over time,
that demographic is
it was concentrated, small spaces. And then there was, some other things that I think that continued to challenge it. I think in the 1970s, there was they deinstitutionalized mental institutions as well.
Yeah.
I again utilized some of those spaces. And a lot of the organization, I think, put a high concentration of challenging demographic or sociographic. And similar to what happened with, I'm sure, with projects that made it challenging. Sure. And so
there was like compounding catalysts that just kept depressing the neighborhood.
And I think that's kind of happened. Similar stories across the country.
Absolutely. Yeah. You've seen the examples of that in different states and markets. Again, I think that, people think that they were helping, but they weren't really creating a solution.
Of course.
And so I think that continues.
It was kind of like NIMBYism. I mean, it's just as long as it's not in my backyard.
I mean, I'd say,
out of sight, out of mind, but you are impacting other communities.
Yeah.
So getting back to the Lawrence House, how did you start seeing that neighborhood changing? What was the Brooklynization effect that was occurring?
We attacked small buildings that we bought in foreclosure and they're in distress that turned out to be historic. So they're like historic. They fit into this buy box of beautiful, amazing buildings for very low cost. Coincidentally, some of them are old hotels or single room occupancies. We talked about becoming a micro developer or shrinking units. It was a really great adaptive reuse into what we do, micro housing. And we generated great rents, created great housing, but it was a lot smaller buildings in the neighborhood. Lawrence House was the largest, and that inflection point would have been, it's the biggest building, 344 units. At the time would have been one of our largest projects, and it had the highest concentration of like crime in the neighborhood.
Wow.
And so if you think about when we bought it, I think there was 4 murders from the time we bought it to the time we started construction. Most 911 calls in the north side.
No way.
Yeah. It took a very long time to get
people think you're crazy?
Oh, yeah. I mean, they thought that was the end of us. I mean, we even thought at the time, like there was definitely it was a scary moment, you know? And so that project, we converted a hotel, and that was, I think, an interesting conversion too. In the Flats expansion was the convergence of hospitality and multifamily. Think about doing that 15 years ago when people weren't really thinking about, apartments as like hotels. Yeah. And so we really had a hotel converted into micro apartments with amenity-rich environments. And so
and that was the birth of Flats, really.
I would say that was like we put Flats into like multiple stages. You had 1.0, 2.0.
Flats is your management arm.
Correct. Yeah. Flats is our property management lifestyle brand, consumer facing.
Okay.
Is the best way to describe it. And so that was like I would say a version 2.0. 1.0 small buildings, cool, design driven, maybe a little bit of amenities, very efficient spaces. 2.0 had a convergence of hospitality, multifamily, adaptive reuse, larger, more of scale of size. And today, we're closer to 3.0 and we continue to evolve.
So what's that area around that property now like?